Chapter 22 on enjoining good and forbidding evil. You must enjoin good and forbid evil, for this is the pivot around which religion revolves, and is the reason why God revealed His books and sent His messengers. It is considered a duty by the consensus of all Muslims, and a great many passages in the Book and the Sunnah enjoin it, and warn about its neglect. God the Exalted has said, "Let there be from among you a nation who invite to goodness, enjoin beneficent acts, and forbid reprehensible ones. Such are they who are successful." Chapter 3, verse 104. In many contexts has God attributed enjoining good and forbidding evil to the believers, and on some occasions, even before attributing faith to them, and on others before mentioning the regular performance of prayers and the giving of zakah. He has said, exalted is He, "Those of the children of Israel who disbelieved were cursed by the tongue of David, and Jesus, son of Mary, because they rebelled and used to transgress. They restrained not one another from the wickedness they did. Indeed, evil was what they used to do." Chapter 5, verses 78 and 79. And He said, "And guard yourselves against a chastisement which cannot fall exclusively on those of you who do wrong." Chapter 8, verse 25. The Messenger of God, may blessings and peace be upon him, has said, "Any one of you who sees a reprehensible thing should change it with his hand. If he is unable to, then with his tongue. If he is unable to, then with his heart, which thing is the weakest degree of faith. And by the one in whose hand lies my soul, you will enjoin good and forbid evil, or God will soon send His punishment upon you, whereupon you will pray and not be answered. And the one who is not compassionate to our young and respectful to our elders, and who does not enjoin good and forbid evil, is not one of us." Know that enjoining good and forbidding evil is a collective obligation, fard kifaya, which if discharged by some is not incumbent upon the rest, and the reward being proper to those who discharged it. If no one does it, everyone who is aware of it and able to act is held responsible. Your duty, when you see someone neglecting an act of goodness or committing an act of evil, is to make him aware of the good or evil nature of the act, as the case may be. If he does not respond, you must counsel and put fear into him. If he is still not rebuked, then you must compel him and break the forbidden instruments of distraction, pour away the wine, and restore illicit money to its rightful owners. This last degree is only for those who have either dedicated themselves wholly to God or are authorized delegates of the ruler. The first two degrees, which are the appraisal of things as good or evil and counseling, are only neglected by confused, ignorant people or scholars who are inadequate. Know that enjoining obligatory and forbidding prohibited things is itself an obligation. Enjoining recommended and forbidding disliked things is itself recommended. Whenever you enjoin good or forbid evil and are not listened to, you must leave the place where evil is being committed, and those who commit it until they return to God's ordinance. Likewise, you must detest sins and those who persist in committing them, and abhor them for the sake of God, this being a duty for all Muslims. When you become angry because you were wronged or insulted, and this shows on your face, and you find that your loathing of that deed and the person who did it are more than your loathing of any evil that you see or hear about, then know for certain that your faith is weak, and your honor and wealth are dearer to you than your religion. You are permitted to remain silent if you know with certainty that if you enjoin good or forbid evil, your words will neither be listened to nor accepted, or there will ensue obvious harm either to yourself or your property. This is when enjoining and forbidding change from being an obligation into being a tremendous virtue, which indicates that the one who does them loves God and prefers Him to all else. And if you come to know that an evil will increase if forbidden, or that the harm will involve other Muslims in addition to yourself, then silence is better, and in some cases obligatory. Beware of dissimulation, for it is a crime. This is to remain silent for fear of losing a position, money, or any other benefit, the source of which is the person committing the reprehensible act or any other depraved person. Know that when you enjoin or forbid something, that this should be done sincerely for God, gently, wisely, and with compassion, for these attributes do not combine in one person who acts and refrains in accordance with his injunctions, but that his words become effective and evoke reverence, a powerful response from the heart, and a sweetness in the ears. Seldom shall his words be rejected. Anyone who has true vigilance for God, reliance upon him, and has acquired the attribute of mercy toward his servants, cannot prevent himself from removing every evil that he sees, except when prevented from doing so by means which he cannot overcome. Beware of spying, which is seeking to know the private affairs of other Muslims and their hidden sins. The Prophet has said, may blessings and peace be upon him, the one who seeks out the secrets of his brother Muslim will have God seeking out his secrets until he exposes him, even should he be in the depths of his house. Know that a concealed sin harms only its doer, but when it becomes public and is not stopped, its harm becomes general. When sins and reprehensible things become obscenely in evidence where you live, and you despair of truth being accepted, then isolate yourself, for in this lies safety. Or emigrate to another place, which action is better, for when chastisement falls on a place, it includes both the wicked and the good. To the believer who was neglectful in supporting God's religion, it is an expiation and a mercy, but for others it is a chastisement and an affliction, and God knows best.